Close your eyes for a second and picture a garden. I'm willing to bet you see neat, straight rows. Carrots in one line, lettuce in another, with patches of bare soil in between, just begging for weeds. We spend our spring tilling, our summer weeding, and the whole season fighting pests that see our tidy vegetable lines as an all-you-can-eat buffet. It's a constant battle, isn't it? You versus nature. But what if the goal wasn't to fight nature, but to partner with it? What if your garden could largely take care of itself, building its own soil, managing its own pests, and watering itself more efficiently, all while producing a massive amount of food? This isn't a fantasy. It's a design system called a food forest. Forget the single-file lines. A food forest is a vibrant, multi-layered ecosystem that mimics the structure of a young, natural woodland. But here's the brilliant part. Nearly every plant in it is edible, medicinal, or useful. Think about a wild forest edge. Does anyone go there to fertilize, to weed, to spray for bugs? No. The system sustains itself. Leaves fall and become mulch. Plants with deep roots pull up nutrients for their neighbors. A diversity of flowers attract beneficial insects that handle pest control for free. We're simply stealing that blueprint. For example, instead of a lonely apple tree sitting in a patch of grass, imagine this. The apple tree creates the top layer. Beneath it, a gooseberry bush thrives in the dappled light. Around the base of the bush, a living carpet of alpine strawberries suppresses weeds and keeps the soil cool and moist. And popping up through those strawberries are clumps of chives, whose strong scent naturally confuses aphids that might want to snack on the apple tree. Suddenly, you don't have 4 separate plants to manage. You have one cooperative team where each member helps the others thrive. The practical result is revolutionary. Less work for more food, year after year. It's the ultimate garden hack because you're letting the ecosystem do the heavy lifting. And building an ecosystem like this starts, quite literally, from the top down. We have to establish the giants that will define the entire environment, the very backbone of our edible jungle. All right, so you've decided to stop fighting your garden and start conducting an orchestra of nature instead. Fantastic. Every great composition needs a foundation, and in our food forest, we build it from the sky down. Welcome to Layer 1, the canopy. Think of these as the titans, the benevolent overlords of your future ecosystem. These are the majestic oaks, the bountiful pecans, the sprawling chestnuts, or even a classic full-sized apple tree that will become a neighborhood landmark. But let's be crystal clear, choosing your canopy tree is the closest thing to a permanent decision you will ever make in your garden. This isn't like picking a tomato variety. You're choosing a feature that will likely outlive the person who planted it. You're planting a legacy. So yeah, the pressure's on, but in the best way possible. Their role is so much bigger than just dropping food on your head. They are the chief architects of your garden's microclimate. They are the massive, living parasols that will transform a patch of sun-blasted, wind-whipped lawn into a sheltered haven. They soften driving rains, turning a downpour into a gentle drip that recharges the soil instead of eroding it. They buffer against harsh winds, and on a scorching August afternoon, the air beneath them can be several degrees cooler, holding a gentle humidity that your understory plants will crave. They are creating an entirely new world. So how do you pick your champion? The non-negotiable first step is matching the tree to your climate and soil. That's just basic science. But the second rule, the one that garden graveyards are filled with, is to have a profound respect for its final form. That cute little stick you brought home from the nursery doesn't care about your property lines. It has a genetic destiny to become a 70-foot behemoth with a root system the size of a small car.
You have to think in 3D and across time. Will its future shadow plunge your entire vegetable patch into eternal twilight? Will its branches start knocking on your neighbor's bedroom window in 20 years? Forget what it looks like today. You need to fall in love with its 50-year-old self. This brings us to the grand strategic play, using your giants to literally sculpt the sunlight. For those of us in the northern hemisphere, the classic move is to plant your largest trees on the northern edge of your property. Why? Because in the summer, when the sun is high, its enormous shadow is cast north, away from your main growing areas, leaving a glorious sun-drenched pocket to the south for your tomatoes and peppers. Then in the winter, the low-angled sun can peek right underneath its bare branches, warming the soil when you need it most. And for our friends in the southern hemisphere, just flip that. Your giants go to the south. You're not just planting a tree. You're becoming a light artist, designing dappled shade for some, full sun for others, and creating a dynamic play of light that changes with every season for the next half-century. With these gentle giants staked out, the fundamental architecture of your jungle is set. They are the load-bearing walls, the spinal column of your entire system. They create the stage. And now that the stage is set and the main actors are in place, we can start bringing in the rest of the cast, filling in the vibrant, productive, and delicious layers that exist in their mighty shadow. All right. With our giant canopy trees reaching for the sky, the basic architecture of our forest is in place. But a forest isn't just a few tall trees. It's a bustling, multi-level community. Now, we're diving into the engine room, the productive core of the entire system, the understory and the shrub layers. Think of it this way. If the canopy is the roof of your natural house, these layers are the main living floors. The understory consists of smaller, shade-tolerant trees that thrive in the dappled light beneath the giants. These are your dwarf fruit trees, like apples on dwarfing rootstock, or unique species like the pawpaw, which naturally evolved to grow under the protection of larger trees. They get just enough sun to produce without competing directly with the canopy. Right below them, and often mingling around the sunnier edges, is the shrub layer. This is the absolute powerhouse of easy-to-reach harvests. We're talking about an explosion of berries, blueberries, raspberries, currants, gooseberries, and dozens more. These plants are tough, productive, and create a dense living wall that provides habitat for beneficial insects and birds. Here's a practical example. Beneath the eastern side of a standard apple tree, where it gets gentle morning sun, you could plant a small hazelnut tree as your understory. Then, clustered around its base, you could establish a patch of blackcurrants. The currants will benefit from the partial shade during the hottest part of the day. The hazelnut fills the vertical gap, and both provide you with incredible food. You're not just planting things, you're assembling a productive team that works together. The key is to observe the light. Watch how the shadows from your canopy trees move throughout the day and the year. This tells you exactly where to place these mid-level players. With our trees and bushes thriving, the structure is really taking shape. But look down. All that bare earth beneath them? That's not a problem to be solved with wood chips. It's an opportunity waiting to be planted. We're about to weave an edible carpet right under our feet.
All right, we've planted our towering canopy and our productive understory, but what about all that space in between? For most gardeners, this is a battlefield. It's a constant back-breaking war against weeds and bare, sun-baked soil. But in our food forest, we don't fight the ground, we dress it. We get ready to weave a living, edible carpet. This is where our next two layers come in, the herbaceous layer and the ground cover layer. Think of them as the vibrant, functional floor of your forest. The herbaceous layer includes all the non-woody plants, your culinary herbs like oregano and mint, medicinal flowers like calendula, and perennial greens like sorrel. Below them, literally hugging the earth, is the ground cover layer, the low-profile spreaders that form a dense, living mulch. Why is this a superpowered alternative to wood chips? Because every square inch of this carpet works. It actively suppresses weeds by stealing their light and space, so you can retire your weeding hoe. It insulates the soil, keeping it cool and moist, drastically cutting down on your watering needs. It buzzes with life, attracting pollinators and beneficial insects that protect your taller plants. And the best part? You can eat it! Let's make this real. Imagine planting a ring of comfrey around the base of your new apple tree. Comfrey is a powerhouse. Its deep taproot pulls up minerals from the subsoil that the tree can't reach. A few times a year, you just chop and drop the leaves right where they are, creating a perfect, self-generating fertilizer. Meanwhile, you could have a mat of wild strawberries spreading between your shrubs, giving you a sweet, ground-level harvest while smothering any potential weeds. This living floor is an absolute game-changer, turning what used to be a chore into another layer of abundance. It creates a rich, thriving surface teeming with life. But what we see on top is only half the story. While this edible carpet is busy protecting the soil, an entire world of hidden treasures is forming right beneath it. All right, so we've woven our edible carpet across the forest floor. But what if I told you that just beneath that living mulch lies a secret pantry? This is our fifth layer, the rhizosphere, and it's where the real treasure hunt begins. This isn't just about digging for potatoes. The rhizosphere is the bustling, microscopic metropolis surrounding the roots of your plants. It's a world teeming with life, bacteria, protozoa, and most importantly, vast networks of mycorrhizal fungi. Think of this fungal network as the secret internet of your food forest. It's a superhighway that connects the roots of your giant canopy trees to the tiniest strawberry plant, sharing water, shuttling nutrients, and even sending warning signals about pests. The plants in your root layer aren't just growing in this network, they are a vital part of it. This layer is your primary zone for powerhouse root crops. We're talking about the satisfying heft of a sweet potato, the spicy kick of fresh ginger or turmeric, the surprising sweetness of a parsnip, or the reliable crunch of Jerusalem artichokes. Let's take the Jerusalem artichoke, or sunchoke. It's a perfect food forest plant. Above ground, it shoots up a tall stalk with a beautiful sunflower-like bloom, attracting pollinators. But below ground, it's forming a colony of delicious, nutty tubers you can harvest all winter long. And here's the game-changing part. Harvesting from this layer doesn't mean destroying your garden. Forget tilling. You practice what's sometimes called bandicooting, gently digging around the plant to feel for tubers, pulling out what you need and leaving the rest. You leave the soil structure and its precious fungal web largely intact. You harvest, and the system continues to thrive, often regrowing from the pieces you left behind. It's a truly sustainable pantry. So we've established our canopy, filled the understory, woven the ground cover, and now tapped into the secret harvest beneath our feet. But there's still one dimension of space we haven't fully exploited. To do that, we need to start looking up. All right, so far we've built our forest from the ground up, from the hidden, bustling world of the root layer to the majestic canopy reaching for the clouds. But we've mostly been thinking like map makers, plotting things out in 2 dimensions, length and width. It's time to stop thinking flat. It's time to unlock the 3rd dimension and change the rules of the game. We're going vertical. Welcome to the vertical layer, the realm of climbers, vines, and ramblers. Now, this is less of a distinct layer and more of a revolutionary strategy. These are the opportunistic acrobats of the plant world, the high-wire artists of the garden. Their genius is that they don't compete for soil real estate, they conquer the sky. By intentionally designing with this layer, you are quite literally pulling new gardening space out of thin air. You're transforming ignored, barren surfaces, walls, fences, railings, even the trunks of your larger trees, into vibrant, productive, living canvases that harvest sunlight others simply can't reach. Let's get specific, because this is where the magic happens. Picture a sturdy pergola over your patio. Now, train a grapevine to climb over it. You're not just setting yourself up for delicious, sun-ripened grapes. You're engineering a dynamic microclimate. In the heat of summer, that leafy ceiling will cast a cool, dappled shade, creating a perfect sanctuary for shade-loving mints or lettuces from our herbaceous layer below. It becomes a living air conditioner and a food source, all in one. Or let's consider the perfect partnership, hardy kiwis scrambling up the trunk of an established oak or maple tree. The tree provides a robust, living trellis, and the kiwi vine, being a courteous guest, uses it for support without strangling or harming its host. The result, you get to harvest unique, fuzzless kiwis high up in the branches, effectively getting a second harvest from the same vertical column of space. The practical takeaway here is to recalibrate your vision. Look around you. That boring wooden fence isn't just a boundary, it's a future wall of food, a perfect trellis for passion fruit, climbing beans, or even vining squash like chayote. That hot, south-facing brick wall isn't just a heat sink, it's the future home for an espaliered apple or pear tree. Espalier is that incredible technique where you train a tree to grow flat against a surface, turning it into a living sculpture that soaks up the reflected heat, often allowing you to grow fruits that wouldn't normally thrive in your climate. This layer is the ultimate garden hack for urban homesteaders and anyone with limited ground, allowing you to stack functions and harvests in a way a traditional flat garden could only dream of. And as these vines and climbers weave their way upwards, threading through the shrub layer and reaching into the understory, they do something truly profound. They become the living stitches, the green circulatory system that physically connects all the other layers. They bridge the gap between the ground cover and the canopy, creating pathways for beneficial insects and tying our entire design together into a single, cohesive, and deeply interconnected ecosystem. All right, we've journeyed through all 7 layers, from the towering canopy to the hidden world of the rhizosphere. But here's the secret. A food forest isn't 7 separate gardens stacked on top of each other. It's an orchestra. Each layer is an instrument, and when they play together, you get a symphony of abundance that practically runs itself. Think about it. Your canopy trees aren't just for fruit. They are the climate creators, providing dappled shade and a windbreak. Every autumn, they drop their leaves, creating a natural, self-renewing mulch on the forest floor. This mulch feeds the soil life, which in turn nourishes the berry bushes and dwarf trees in the understory. Your herbaceous layer, with plants like comfrey and borage, acts as a team of dynamic accumulators, their deep taproots mining minerals from the subsoil and bringing them to the surface for everyone to share. The ground cover chokes out weeds and locks in moisture, while the vining layer uses the structure provided by others to find its own place in the sun. This constant interplay is what creates a truly resilient and low-maintenance system. You're not the one fertilizing. The nitrogen-fixing shrubs and the chop-and-drop mulch are. You're not spending hours weeding. The living carpet of ground cover is doing it for you. It's a closed-loop system where waste from one element becomes food for another. For example, a hazelnut tree, understory, might be supported by a nearby clover patch, ground cover,
fixing nitrogen, while a grapevine, vertical, uses its trunk for support, and potatoes, rhizosphere, thrive in the loose, rich soil created by years of leaf fall from the canopy above. This is the ultimate shift in perspective. You stop being a gardener who constantly fights nature and become an ecosystem architect who simply guides it. This whole project might sound grand, but it all begins with a single choice. It begins with planting one guild, one small community of plants that helps each other thrive. You are setting a system in motion that will grow more abundant, more diverse, and more self-sufficient with each passing year. Your garden becomes a legacy. So the only real question left is, what's the first note of your symphony going to be?